got licensed December 17th or 16th, flew out December 17th to Mexico for about a month and a half, came back and just killed it, right? I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
There's so many people that need my help. And that was it wasn't about me making money or doing other things. It was like, I had such a good experience at the very end. How many people are holding off from making more money through real estate because they don't know who the right person is to reach out to?
Or they've tried to reach out to someone and had a bad experience and gave up. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, there's horror stories. For those of you in McMinnville, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's people out there that really did people dirty. And so there was a whole mistrust. Like, why would we even get into that? Like, my money's more safe in, under my bed than investing in real estate. So I really was like, I'm the guy. I'm the one to turn people into movers.
Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. We're on episode 73. I'm Steven Tran. I'm an Oregon and Washington real estate agent, and I invest in short-term rentals and multifamily.
And I'm your co-host, Jordan Lee, mortgage lender based in Portland, Oregon, and licensed in about 9 states. I also invest in single family, and we have a multi-unit together that has actually a commercial unit in it. So we have a little bit of commercial.
That's been fun. So Jordan, so who did we interview today?
We had a great interview today with an agent that's based in the Salem and like Dallas, Monmouth area, Lorenzo Flores.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing to see kind of how he started his business. He kind of just jumped in, did social media, and does I don't want to curse, but an insane amount of business, and he's grown every single year. So it's really fun to kind of see his strategies on doing that and doing his social media and video.
Yeah, super inspiring interview. If you're interested in like learning the mindset of a top producer and like building a business, from scratch, and he also had some hardship, like that kind of galvanized his interest in real estate. So I think there's a lot of good tidbits in this interview.
Yeah, super inspiring. So yeah, definitely check it out. Hey guys, welcome to the Realized Gains podcast. I'm Steven Tran.
And I'm your co-host Jordan Lee here, and we're super excited to have Lorenzo on the podcast. And it's cool because our sons actually play soccer together. Yeah. Right. Do you want to give us like a just quick background about where you're from, kind of what your story is, and sort of how you got started, and how you found yourself where you are today?
Yeah, dude, I'll try to sum it up as fast as I can, right?
I mean, we don't need to go too fast.
Yeah. From McMinnville.
So you grew up in McMinnville?
Yeah, born in Portland, just been in the Willamette Valley my whole life. And
what did your parents do in McMinnville?
So my dad works on a farm still.
Oh, geez.
After, what is it now, 38 years?
Wow.
38 years. He's
what
been
kind
working.
Of farm?
Well, they've got a little bit of everything. They've got hazelnuts. They've had Marion berries, evergreen berries,
classic
like
Oregon
all
crops.
yeah, of class, right?
Yeah.
Corn, beans. Even really produce a lot of like grass, that kind of thing.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So grew up in that.
And he produced. They do it all themselves. So they like lease the land and have other people do it, or
not really. I mean, they lease a lot of land for themselves.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty cool. Wow. And I kind of grew up in that environment and working on the farm. We moved out there when I was 8 years old, and then it was always about like, how can I make money, right? It was always about how can I make money, and it was go to work. Well, where can I go to work at 14 years old? On the farm.
Oh yeah.
And so like me and my brother, right? I have a brother. His name is Mario. He's a year younger than I am, and we would go and I remember distinctly our first job was we would have a 4-wheeler. Okay, so how cool, right?
Yeah.
You're like 14 years old and you get a 4-wheeler with a little trailer. But we would go out into the field and pick up rocks out of the field and load them into the trailer and dump them out of the field, right? Like that was our job. So that was cool. Then we started, the whole thing, just working on the farm. But I mean, I think what eventually I got into real estate, right, was for the opportunity. For the opportunity.
What did you do before that?
Oh man, so I worked on the farm. I had various other couple things
Yeah.
that I did, right? But ultimately, before I got into real estate, I was working at a wholesale nursery.
Okay.
So we were selling
that's right.
plants.
You were in nursery.
Yeah,
you were in
like
nursery.
horticulture
Okay.
and
Yep.
stuff. So I was the inventory manager, and then also helped Greg with all the sales and stuff. So it was.
So what sparked your interest in real estate in general? Like, did somebody talk to you about it? Like, why did you think that real estate was the right direction to go?
It's funny, man. So when I was young, when I was 18, I like to say I got recruited out of McDonald's, right? And just got thrown the idea of what if, right? What if you were your own boss? What if you had your own company? What if you had the opportunity to do something for yourself and not have to work for someone?
Yeah.
And I say that because, being 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, still working on the farm, my time is so tied up. My time, right? And like to be an owner means you have freedom, means that you can go out and do stuff. So from the very beginning, when I worked at Primerica, when I was 18, 19 years old, it was the idea of wanting freedom. And so I remember there was a real estate agent out in McMinnville who helped my sister buy her house. And I was like, man, what an opportunity. Like, I'm going to talk to this guy and I'm going to say, hey, I want to get into real estate. Like, this guy's going to help me out.
Yeah.
And so he did. He came into the store where I was working and, I said, hey, man, you helped my sister buy her house and I want to do what you do. I want to do real estate. And he was like, no, Lorenzo, I'm sorry. You don't have the capacity to do this line of work.
Wow.
It's just like, man, I remember the
This
shoes
was
he
an
was
agent
wearing.
that spoke
like,
Spanish.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
helped with the Hispanic community a lot.
Yeah, I think he helped the Hispanic community, right? I mean,
Right,
there's
right,
a level
right.
of service, right, that we expect.
Why do you think he said that? Like, why did he say that you didn't have the capacity to do this?
It took me a long time to really figure it out because initially it really hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
Because at that time, you'd already been working in finance for a little bit too, right?
I'd gotten a little bit of experience
Yeah.
of like sales
And
and,
you had
meeting
sales
people
background, yeah.
and stuff like that, right? And I think it took me a while to figure out. And I was like, why wouldn't this guy want me on his team, right? Like if somebody came to me and was like, hey, I've got all the energy and I want to do it, I want to explode, like I'm going to try to help them out.
Yeah.
But, it took me a while and I think that maybe he knew something or maybe he was scared of the competition that it would create, Like bring somebody else into your hub that you're going to train can be really tough, especially as real estate agents,
McMinnville, smaller market.
Smaller market, so,
didn't
and
wanna have to share his market share.
Well, didn't he had a team, so he would have gotten part of the share of whatever business you would have had, right?
I mean, essentially, yeah, that's exactly what you would think is you would be able to make.
Yeah, you make people money off of you not working.
Well, and the thing is, like, I would have happily given him some money,
Right.
if he taught me how to be successful or how to really do it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the price you pay. Is
Yeah.
you got to pay a little bit, but it didn't. So, like, long story short, that ended up running through and really deterred me, got me back into working in nursery work, kind of. Did that for about another 7 years, and then came the day where I'm sitting in the office, the owner walks in, and he's like, hey, guys, we're shutting this all down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that hit me heavy. And I say it because I think I told Jordan before, but my son had just been born.
Oh no.
So he comes in, let's say the office, he comes in probably about May or June. Julian was born the end of February. I'd just bought in the house a couple months before, so in December, the year prior. So it was
mortgage to pay,
mortgage,
529 to
kids.
fund. Yeah.
My lady wasn't working at the time.
Yeah.
She was a stay at home, and that was the plan. So
Yeah.
it was like, wow, what am I gonna do?
Did they give you like a severance or anything to kind of bide your time so you could figure out your next step?
He did. He was awesome.
Okay.
Jim over at Broadmead Nursery. Thank you so much for what you've done. And here's the thing, right?
Which is unusual for a small business, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. There weren't too many of
Atypical.
us,
Yeah.
There weren't too many.
I mean to like give a severance or give you some leeway at the end.
Yeah, he was more than generous, I'd say. To the point where he sat down with me and was like, look, Lorenzo, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to find you whatever position you want within another nursery here in this area. Like, you just tell me where you want to work, and I got you. And I looked at Jim, and I was like, Jim, I don't want to do nursery work anymore. I want to get into real estate. And this was about 8 years ago. And he was like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, I support you, and I will pay for all of your schooling and whatever you need. He's like, I just expect that you are the best student in the class. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, dude, no, don't worry about it. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to kill this. Like, I need this more than you even know.
Right.
Like, there was such a line of, there's no failing in that. You know,
Yeah.
like, I have to make this because
Right.
I don't want to get back into nursery work. I want to pursue real estate. And I think it all came from having a bad real estate experience myself.
Yeah.
So when I bought my house, the first agent unfortunately wasn't helpful.
Didn't go back to the sister's agent that said you didn't.
No,
you didn't go back to him.
At that point, when I was buying my house, I had a really bad experience, and so, fired the first real estate agent, which I think.
What did you fire him for? Or her?
Well, I fired her because I felt like my time was more invested than her time into me. Like I was investing more time into myself, trying to figure out where's this house, how am I going to get into this house, like, who do I get a hold of in order to get in and to make an offer? Like, what does that even look like?
Right.
So I was like, you know what, we're not going anywhere. We tried it for about 4 months. We weren't going anywhere. I said, thank you so much for what you've done, but I need to go in a different direction. And so I thought the best thing for me would be to contact the listing agent of whatever property that I wanted to go. I'm going to go see their sign, and I'm going to call that dude or gal, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Well, I did that.
Yeah. Okay.
The house was available. We locked it down. We got it under contract. My biggest thing was
And they did double representation.
double representation. My biggest thing was, my lady's pregnant. We're about to have a kid. All I hear about lead-based paint is really bad for you.
Yeah.
Lead-based paint. I don't really know anything about lead-based paint, but they say it's bad, so I'm going to go with it's bad. And
It's an older home.
It's an older home. It was built in the 50s, and I said, hey, does this house have lead-based paint? No, Lorenzo, there's nothing to worry about. Don't you worry.
Ooh.
I Google searched, hey, what does lead-based paint look like on an older home, right? Bam. And it just comes up with chipping and peeling and it's like squares and things like that. And I go back to the house during our inspection. I'm like, man, that sure looks like lead-based paint.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but
I don't even know what this looks like, but this looks like lead-based paint.
This is the listing agent who was double ending it.
Yeah,
He was he just basically lied to you. He's like, there's no lead-based paint.
Yeah.
Just making that assumption or guess or
Yeah.
just saying it to assuage you.
Yeah, and I'll never say the name of who that agent was, but I at the time was like, I have to go after his license. Like, how do people get away with this? Like, here's the thing, right? Is I felt I was an educated Hispanic guy growing up in this.
it's not like you had language barrier.
No, man, and it was like, wait, if this is happening to me, what's happening to my aunt, my uncle, their cousins, their family, and stuff like that? That they just have nobody that can really help them out.
Yeah.
So then I go to Walmart because they sell the little test kits. So I go to Walmart and I come back to the house later after the inspection. And I strike the house and it comes up positive for lead-based paint. So what I do is I call the realtor. Hey, dude, the house has lead-based paint. What do you mean? Well, this is what I did. I went to Walmart, bought the kit. Here it is. He's like, Lorenzo, you're going to lose all your earnest money. I can't believe that you went back. You just gave the tenant a free month's rent. This is going to cost the seller so much. And I'm just like, dude, what about me? What about me? What about me asking you to make sure that this house doesn't?
Was this during the inspection period or after?
It was the day after, or it was the same day that the inspection happened. I went that night.
Okay, so you still had time to back out.
Oh, yeah.
So he
But
was
I didn't-
lying.
But I didn't know that.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I didn't
You didn't
know
know
that.
You don't know contracts.
Dude, I don't know contracts, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
where a lot of people are at
I
too.
mean, have you tried to read a real estate contract for a layperson?
Before I became a realtor, I'd never even considered reading 14, 15 pages of a contract that I have no idea what.
Right.
Like,
And typically
they're
it's
responsible. They got me,
DocuSign.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the terms and condition for Apple. You just click, 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 it's done.
Go to the bottom of the
Yeah,
page.
exactly.
Yes, I've read everything.
Wow. So
So then, and then what was the next move?
So after that, I said, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to lose my earnest money. You better give me my money back, and we're done. We're done. So I'm still searching for a house. Fired him. And there was an open house. And I go to this open house, and sure enough, there's an agent sitting in the office, right? He's in there, and he's the listing agent. And I said, hey, I kind of like the house, whatever. He's like, well, there's a couple different realtors in the office that could help you out.
So this
Okay.
one referred you
Okay.
to a buyer's agent.
Yeah, I was like,
there we
okay,
go.
like I'm in my head, I'm already like, okay, that's very different,
Yeah.
right? I like this, and so I met Sandra Paoli, and she's still an active agent here in the Monmouth area, great
Nice.
agent, and she said, look, I'm gonna set up a few appointments for us this one day. We're gonna look at 3 or 4 houses, and let me know what you think. I was like, whoa, wait, what? What is this? This is how it's done.
Oh my God, customer service?
Wait,
You know?
what? And so, like, honestly, guys, I'm telling you how it unfolded, right? And so I go and we set up the appointment, and I'm like, okay, a couple houses, let's do it. And we went back to the house that I saw the open house. There was another open house that time. So I was like, okay, we checked it out, and we saw the other houses, and none of them really fit. I remember I tried to create like a little whatever with my agent, right? And I was like, man, she showed me this house. It was probably like 650, 700 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. You know, I mean, that was my price range. I was approved at the time for about 170,000.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you don't buy a whole lot ever for 170.
That's true.
But you hope to get more than 620 square feet. And so I told her, I was like, man, this house is perfect, like for my cat, because he could just like sit right here, and he's got like bird's eye view of everything happening, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we went back to the open house, and I said, I want to get it. We got it, and sure enough, we locked it down, and that house is still in my portfolio.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first home.
Yeah, so I got the house, ended up working, whatever, and then came the day where, you know, Jim was like, hey, we're shutting this thing down, and I said, what do I want to do? I want to get into customer service. I want to get into professional real estate.
No, I think it's amazing. Like, sometimes the most prudent buyers become the best agents. You know, the ones who are the most careful, because we have to know the concerns. We have to be in those shoes to be a good agent, I think. So
And
Yeah.
it's interesting how like an experience like that can kind of motivate you to become a good agent, because I mean, you see it like in healthcare, right, too, where if someone, you know, maybe their sister or a family member has like a cancer or something early on, and then when they're a kid, they're like, oh, I want to be able to become a nurse and take care of someone like that, or I want to become a doctor so I can help take care of someone like that. So it's kind of an interesting fit that you had that experience, so now you can empathize with people that are getting started, and you have that memory there. I like that. So then you went and got your education, and then you had to decide where to hang your license. What was your natural move for that?
Well, again, I think thanks to Sandra and the level of service that she showed me, I was like, that's the right company I want to go to.
So you went back.
So, you know, she was working out of the Monmouth area. I lived in Dallas. That's where I bought my house.
Yeah.
And there was the main hub was in Dallas.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, oh, perfect. I'm just going to go there. I met Nancy Rogers, incredible lady, incredible. Nothing but great things to say about Nancy. And she really took me under her wing. I felt like I had so many questions. When I got into this.
I mean, you never stop learning, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like a whole new world, right? After going to real estate school,
Right.
going through the courses.
Oh, you didn't learn how to sell real estate? in
Yeah,
real estate
right.
school?
How many square feet are in an acre?
43,560.
There you go.
But I mean, it was one of those things where I had so many questions I learned, and yeah, I hung my license there. And first year, I'd say I had a full year. I got licensed December 17th or 16th, flew out December 17th to Mexico for about a month and a half, came back and just killed it, right? I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
There's so many people that need my help. And that was it wasn't about me making money or doing other things. It was like, I had such a good experience at the very end. How many people are holding off from making more money through real estate because they don't know who the right person is to reach out to?
Or they've tried to reach out to someone and had a bad experience and gave up. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, you know, there's horror stories. For those of you in McMinnville, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's people out there that really did people dirty. And so there was a whole mistrust. Like, why would we even get into that? Like, my money's more safe in, you know, under my bed than investing in real estate. So I really was like, I'm the guy. I'm the one to turn people into movers, to get them moving, to get them to take action on what maybe they didn't know before, which is cool. But once you know something and then you decide to not take action on it, then that's a whole different thing. Because I just felt like what I learned through real estate and how to do real estate was like, people need to know about this.
Okay. So how did you get ramped up? I mean, you got back from Mexico and you're getting started in the industry. How did you get ramped up? How did you get clients?
This is what, 2017?
2017.
2017, okay.
Yeah, 2017. While I was in Mexico, I'd met a lender, Roxana Baltasar. I believe she's still lending. And, we just hit it off. We just talked while I was in Mexico, and we were building a rapport.
Okay.
And by the time I came back, she's like, hey, I got a client for you.
Nice.
I was like, oh, God. Like, does it get any better than that?
Was she local to Oregon?
Yeah, she was from Salem. Salem and Woodburn.
Wow, that's a small world.
Small world. Small world, right?
Yeah.
So, we got along pretty good. And she got me the client, and that's what really got me going as far as like, okay, this is what you should be doing, right? When you get somebody in, like having them connect with the lender, getting the pre-approval process, talking finance first before we start dreaming about that 3,000 square foot house, right? Whatever it is. So that's what really pumped me up, and just the drive of I'm in a different world being in the real estate than I was working at the nursery. Like I felt so. Once you work outside and it's like snowing and it's raining and you're like your shoes are wet, but then you got to go back outside and it's really cold out and you're like you can't feel your fingertips. Mm-hmm. It's a different thing to come into real estate and be like, God, I'm so blessed. Like I'm not out there anymore and I can now make money by helping people if I do the right thing.
Right.
Like it's as simple as helping people.
Yeah.
Providing information. So, dude, it lit me up and thank God, the very first year I closed 17 deals.
Wow. Okay.
17
And
my
were
first
those,
year.
Like in your sphere mostly, or totally outside of it, or a combination?
A little bit of both. Some of them were in my sphere, but you know what? I think what I really tried to do is passionate customer service. Like literally, let me help you out.
Yeah.
And I'm here for you. Let me guide you. Let me help you. And so I was getting referrals the very first year by clients that I was already closing with.
Nice.
Oh, hey, we've got people that are interested. We've got people that are whatever. I was like, absolutely, send them my way. I've got time, And then the next year I did 34.
Wow.
Okay. So then I was just learn.
Did you have any qualms about like being new to the industry? Did you have any imposter syndrome? Like I don't know the answer. Like how did you get over that?
You fake it till you make it. Classic. And honestly, I mean, I never said an answer that I didn't know. If I had to, you know what? I'm not sure. But I know I can get you the right answer.
I always say that. Saying I don't know confidently is very important.
Strong.
I mean, don't lie. Don't say, hey, there is no lead paint when you don't know.
Right. That's a terrible thing to say.
I mean, that's a reputation ruiner. I think you're really good about thinking about doing this long term. And like you said, fake it till you make it. That's not a bad thing. Yeah. Showing confidence. That's the thing. We're gonna work harder to figure this out. Yeah, right. Don't lie. Yeah, but we're gonna work harder to figure it out than the other person. Right. Because nobody knows everything. Nobody expects you to know everything.
Rules change. Yeah. Guidelines change. Rules change. Like, that's my typical line.
Lead paint doesn't change.
Lead base does not change.
Let me just, talk with an expert real quick. And I think a lot of times, especially for a real estate agent, you're kind of expected to like know all this stuff. Like, oh, you know how much it costs to change the floors out. You know how much it costs to redo a bathroom. All like. What does title do? What are the rates today? Like all these random things. Like, hey, let me talk to my buddy. He's the expert in that. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and I've learned that people really respect that.
Yeah.
People respect the fact that, you know what, I might not know that, but I will get you an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get yourself in trouble if you, overpromise, underdeliver, or give bad information. So it's just like you might as well just relay it out to the expert. Mm-hmm. You can give an opinion and then always preface it with like, hey, but we should double check or make sure.
Right, that's always our line. We're not tax advisors. We're not CPAs. We're not attorneys.
We're not attorneys.
So I'm not your lender. Let's talk to Jordan, please.
But my payment. What's my payment? Talk to Jordan. Okay, let's talk to Jordan.
So I'm not a finance major.
And so, talk to us about. So that was a pretty decent amount of contracts and clients to have in the first couple of years. What did you do to manage your paperwork flow? Was there someone in your office that helped with that portion, or was it all kind of on you? And I guess a follow-up question was that I'm also curious about how you dealt with, assuming some of your clients were primarily Spanish-speaking, how you dealt with the, English contracts for Spanish-speaking folks.
Oh, man. There was so many appointments, so many late nights, so many back-to-backs because of the time that it took.
You got to meet in person, right? You can't just do it on the phone.
No. It wasn't as simple as let's send it out via DocuSign.
Right.
DigiSign, Yeah. It was more like we have to meet in person, especially because you don't know what you're signing. Like, let me go through this.
You got to go line by line.
I wish I would have, if I was smart, I would have recorded myself going through a contract. This line means this, and then just played it over for them, sent them a video or something.
Right.
But the thing is, it was about customer service. It was about them meeting me in my office and knowing that I'm the professional that's going to guide you. Yeah. Like, it was really about setting up appointments at my office. So that was the big thing for me is getting people in and going through that.
I think the building of relationships by sitting down and, talking to them directly is a lot more impactful than, hey, just watch this video and,
Right.
I guarantee, though, that by forcing yourself to do that, it actually improves your knowledge of contracts a ton. Like, because I bet most agents don't take the opportunity. I mean, most people don't want to have their agent go through line by line for the contract. Like, it's a time consuming but as an agent, I'm sure it improves your knowledge a ton.
I'll say this: I got so much better as an agent when I had a client who literally needed me to read them the entire contract and explain every single line. That was I was like, okay, now I know everything.
Just skipping it, but. I was blessed. I want to say I was so blessed that I had a great mentor in Nancy Rogers, right? And she even believed more in myself than I believed in me. And she would say, you're going to need somebody, you're going to be a rock star, you're going to kill it, you're going to, like, literally, these are things that she was saying to me when I was first starting, like, you're going to be this big shot, you're going to do these big things. And, who would have known that, like, through consistent hard work, preparation, having the right people on your team too, right? And I think that's what I learned. I needed somebody who was going to be there on the day that they didn't want to be there. I needed them there so that they knew how important that other person was, right? And so I had a great assistant at the time, and he helped manage a lot of the paperwork and the transaction flow.
Okay.
So a lot of my thing was, let's talk to people, let's set up the appointments, let's be present, and then have somebody else help me out with everything else.
Got it.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a lot of fun. My most successful year in real estate was back in 2021, and we just absolutely shredded it. I mean, we helped so many families that year. I want to say I did a little bit over, close to about 24 million in production. And I think we helped 74 families either sell or buy that year.
Okay. Well, obviously with all this success, I'm sure you had some bumps along the way. Can you talk about some of those issues that might have happened over the first couple years?
Yeah, I think there's the big obvious one, right? Like if you just have a baby and you got someone at the house and you're spending till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at the office, what's happening at home?
Yeah.
And that's the one that maybe sometimes we don't want to talk about. Right. And that's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Never did I think that I would be eventually like a single dad and not living with baby mama, Right. So that I think was the biggest hurdle in my life.
Yeah.
Because I've always been I try to mentally prepare myself for success. Like, there is only one option, right? And it is to be successful and to be, hopefully, the best one to do it. Right, Right. If not, that's what you strive for. If you don't make it there, you're getting damn close. We were just talking right now. I was picking up my drink, and we're talking on the phone, and somebody hears that I'm going to do a podcast, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and my girl's like, "Yeah." We start talking. I said, yeah, except for the only thing is maybe someday I won't have to drive myself to the podcast, Maybe I'll have a driver. And then she starts thinking, well, yeah, you'll be like so-and-so who has like a Bentley and a driver. And I'm like, man, wouldn't that be the dream, And I was like, but imagine, even if I don't make it there, to even have a driver or have a Bentley or have a nice car, because that's what I was shooting for, like always shooting for something.
Yeah.
And
having a goal to
have a goal
to aim for.
Have a goal.
So you mentioned a little bit about so you bought that smaller house when you got started, and you said that's still part of your portfolio today. Let's talk a little bit about like investing in real estate and how you were able to keep that on, like what you did to do that.
So I decided that some of the best investments you can make is in bare land. And there came an opportunity where a good client of mine was thinking about putting their house on the market, buying this bare land, getting a loan to buy the bare land and to be able to build on it. But they had a daycare. So she's like, well, how am I going to do this? Because I'm going to lose the revenue. Then I'm not going to, all this thing. Yeah. I was like, yeah, you're right. They're like, I'm not going to buy it. And I said, are you sure? Like, this is a great opportunity. It overlooks the city of Dallas. It's on 2 acres of property. Like, are you sure you're going to pass it up? And she's like, yeah. I said, look, if you pass it up, I'm going to buy it. And it's just like full disclosure, right? Yeah. Like if you pass it up, I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, good luck to you. And so I did.
Nice.
And I felt like that was at a time such a great investment, right? I mean, we all hear everybody say they're making more people, there's more people, but they're not making any more land. Right. So prime land right outside the city limits was just a great investment. And to be honest with you guys, I still have the land. I haven't done a single thing with it. Well, I'm letting a friend of mine use the land so he can grow some, back to the nursery world, so he can grow some plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, he's taking advantage. And
are you waiting for it to be? Is the city planning on expanding their boundary to incorporate it, or are you just waiting to be at a point where you can build on it? Like, what's your play?
Yeah, good. So with interest rates these last couple of years, which is being so insane, right? In my opinion, just being higher than normal, these interest rates were. I felt like it wasn't the time to build and put that kind of house on the market. With 2 acres, and in my head was so much real estate.
Is it zoned for just one?
It's zoned for one structure.
Okay.
Yeah, on an acreage.
And it's
property.
not something you can rezone.
I don't know. We've looked at it. I've looked at it. Talked to the city planning department a couple different times about it, and there's no variance on it or anything right now.
Unless the city annexes it or something like that.
Yeah, because we're right outside the city limits, and there's about 4 other properties between the buffer zone and my house. They're like, we would have to redo everything, right?
Yeah.
So, not something I'm interested. I feel like what I could build is somebody's retirement home. It's not a house for me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be I'm really thinking about building something that somebody would fall in love with and be willing to pay a premium price.
Right. So you're waiting for the right market condition. Okay.
I'm waiting for the right market condition.
Okay. This is funny because I when I heard bear land, I was like, "There's lands for bears." I was like confused. I don't know. I was like, "Oh, this is valuable somehow."
There is also that.
Hey, I'm sure we could find you some.
So I mean, what do you think your return on investment for this was? Because I mean, obviously it was such a great deal. I mean, did you buy it all cash and just waiting to? Oh, you got it on a loan, right?
No, actually, this is one that I just decided to buy all cash.
Okay, cool.
Here's the thing, right? When you grow up so poor, and then you like work your ass off, and because of that, you have this money set aside.
Yep.
I didn't know what to do, so what did I do? I said, well, let's buy some bare land.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm not going to depreciate. It's better than holding it in the bank or doing whatever.
Yeah, and the upkeep on land is really low, right? Just a little bit in taxes. You don't have to carry insurance on it, do you, right? Yeah, so it's...
And the best thing is I'm helping somebody and they're taking care of all the maintenance for me.
Yep.
And I mean, it doesn't really cost me much. I just feel like it was a good... Just to sit on it for now and build.
When you own land free and clear, too, you can use that as the down payment or a portion of the down payment, depending on what the valuation is, right? So you could theoretically later on you could get a loan and not necessarily have to come in with down payment to build something.
Yeah,
which is nice. Well, that's super interesting. And then, so did you buy like a new house to live in when you converted your old house, or how did you do that?
No. So after family things happened.
Yep.
Got the house and basically stayed at the house.
Okay.
And so I've just been making kind of other moves
that's still
elsewhere.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
still my house now.
So the original 600 square foot house you were talking about?
No, I ended up leaving that one for somebody else's cat. No, I didn't buy that one. No.
Okay, I forgot.
I got confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you were mentioning earlier that you did work on a little flip project as well.
Yeah, I decided. I mean, just sitting at dinner like 8 o'clock at night, scrolling for another client, and I found this incredible property. I didn't have a client for it at the time. You know,
Right.
Didn't have anybody send it, but just scrolling through houses.
Yep.
And I said, "Wow, no way, is that real?" And so I called the listing agent right away, and sure enough, it was real. She said, "Hey, we've had interest in the house, but no offers. Let me know what you think." I said, "Man, I'm going to drive over there right now," and went over there at 9 o'clock at night, saw the opportunity, and 12 o'clock at night, I had an offer over to her. At 9 a.m., I had an accepted offer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. Like, what did it look like? Price point, etc.
Cool. So, I've always helped everybody in all price ranges, right? Like, for me, the intent was to help educate. And through education, we can empower, and then I can build a clientele that's like, hey, Lorenzo's there to teach you and help you and guide you. So, like, refer it over. Yeah. And I've got enough experience that now I can do anything, where manufactured homes in a park were a big part of my business.
Oh, yeah.
I helped a lot of families
Which
either
are
sell.
hard. Which are hard. Cause it's more work even though it's less pay.
Lately, I've been helping more. Well, I've always helped more people sell their manufactured home than actually buy.
Not as bad as buying, right?
Yeah, buying's a whole other animal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
the loan is gnarly.
As you know, I mean, the process is even longer than just a residential property. It's harder.
Yeah.
There's more paperwork.
Yep.
There's more denial opportunities, right? There's more possibilities for it to go wrong. So, it's a manufactured home in a park is the opportunity, right? And it came up as I think it's a 1998.
Okay.
4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, like 1,700 and some square feet in an all-age community park, and it was priced at $75,000.
Okay.
Oh man.
Was it in like really ill repair or anything?
Not really. I mean, the flooring looked good to me just by the pictures, right? And then when I saw it, it looked like the bathrooms needed to be gutted. Sure. Both bathrooms needed to be completely remodeled. It needed fresh paint because there was like, I remember one of the ceiling fans was like yellow, red, green, purple.
Nice.
And so it was like turning.
I love that.
Nice.
So it needed new lights and everything, right? And I saw it as, okay, I feel like I've always been really good at negotiating. So like, how much can I get off of this myself? Like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna buy it cash, and we can close in a week. Like, how much can I use that to my advantage? And sure enough, I negotiated some price, something, some money off the price. During the inspection, I was able to negotiate a little bit more because there were some things that came up. Yeah. To the point where I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, I've got to take it on. And, being in real estate for now almost 8 years, you find clients that do just about every line of work. If it's not a client, you know somebody, right? Yep. So I said, what an opportunity. I talked to my clients about investing in real estate. Why don't I invest in real estate? Yep. Give it a buy this house and flip it. Let's put it back on the market and see what kind of return I can get on it. So that's kind of, we're still in that process of.
Okay, so how long ago did you get it?
So this was about 3 months ago.
Okay.
And I made the mistake of my first investment property. I'm going on vacation. And so I took off on vacation for like 2 weeks, like maybe about a week after I bought it. I'd already had my trip planned out.
That, like, I feel like so many of my clients are like, oh, and I'm going to be gone during closing. I'm like, okay.
So, that was a few months back that I bought the property, and now we've had all the work done.
Oh, the work's complete already?
The work's done. There was a delay in getting the contractor out there with scheduling, and I think that's the things that I didn't really account for, is other people's schedule.
Yeah. No, that's the hard part with the flips.
And how did you select a contractor? Because I always think this is an important question and that people have that are thinking about, doing something similar.
For me, what was really important was how fast can we get it done?
Yeah.
How soon can I get you out there and get started on the line of work? Like, I trust you that you know what you're doing with the work, right?
And did you go to someone that you would referred to clients before, or had done some work for you before, or how did you find them?
It turns out, right? I didn't even know this. So I'm doing this transaction, helping a seller sell his house. Buyer comes in, says, hey, we need a new roof. My seller says, hey, I know somebody. I say, okay, use your guy, reach out to him. I end up meeting him in person. He's like, Lauren, because I go Lauren, right, for people who know me for a long time or whatever. And they're like, you're so big. And I'm like, do we know each other? Like, I feel like I know you, right? And he's like, man, I've known your dad since you were like 5 years old, 6 years old. Like, and so like there was a connection of like, okay, this is a good contractor. He's been around for a while. Like, he knows what he's doing. And yeah, that's the guy that I decided to do it.
And they could do everything for you. They did the bathrooms, and you didn't sub everything out. You just let him take care of it all.
Pretty much. I mean, he took care of most of the plumbing, the
plumbing stuff too. Wow.
some of the electrical work that needed to be done.
Okay.
Remodel of both bathrooms.
I thought you said this was a small project.
I know.
The little paint.
Dude, I didn't know what I was getting into, and then here's the thing, right? And this was funny. There was like 2 pieces of board that were rotten, and we were inside working, and there was a couple kids out, and they're like, "Hey, can we work? Can we help?" And I was like, "Yeah, you see those pieces of board out there? Like, rip them out. Take the nails out." I go out there, and they've got like half of the front deck already torn off, like broken in with the hammer, and just like, oh, geez, guys, now we got to build the deck too.
Oh, they like really went to town. It wasn't just 2 boards. There was like,
yeah, well, there was a couple of them that were rotten, but they probably found a couple other pieces that maybe I hadn't seen and just went to town on it. So this little thing that I thought was going to be this quick money maker, we're going to put it back on the market, turned out to be like, wow, here's another thing that we got to invest into. And then expenses that I didn't really expect.
Right.
oh yeah.
But yeah, there's all sorts of little things.
I mean, that's the thing. You can take a look on the at a house externally, and then you pull things off the walls. And you're like, oh shit, I got to replace the plumbing. There's a leak here, subfloor, this and that. So you always got to like basically double your budget. Not double, but be conservative.
I do have to say, right, knowing the right people, Pioneer Construction right here in Salem. Miguel Gomez is the owner, and he did such a great job, guys.
Yeah.
I was like, this house had no skylights. I was like, I want to brighten this thing up. If I'm going to sell it for a nice dollar, somebody's going to want a nice house. Let's put some skylights in this place. So we did 3 skylights in the house and a brand new roof over both that and the whole deck and everything, and just fantastic. Just work, and he was quick about it, got it done.
That's interesting.
So that's
I
what we
think
needed.
light's super underrated. Like having light in your house can really help with the value. I think, which is, I don't think it's as tangible on the appraisal. It's like it's
natural light.
Yeah, it's not there in the line item, but having natural light. Yeah,
that's like huge. The number one thing. Not the number one thing they look for, but once they walk into a house and the lights are off and they feel like they don't even have to turn on the lights to walk around and it's all bright, they love that. So I think it's a huge deal. So you got it for, I don't want to give the number, of roughly 75 minus some concessions, etc.
Let's just say 65.
Okay, sure.
Fair.
65 roughly.
Yeah,
sure. And then what are you listing it for?
So I've got a price in mind.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I've got a couple people that I wanted to source it out to before I go live and put it out on the market.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
so you have some buyers that you're like,
yeah,
this might just work for you.
Yeah, and I want to, in a way, kind of help someone else who's really been struggling, because I don't know if you've seen the market right now, but there are no homes on the market.
Yeah.
I just yesterday was looking, okay, what if I put it on, how many homes are in the Salem, Kaiser area with 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, in an all-age community park that's financeable? There's one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's one.
Yeah.
And so I know that there's a huge demand, and so I keep this in my pocket
Yeah.
for if somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, Lorenzo, this is what I'm looking for, or hey, I have a friend or I have a family member who's really needing to get out of their apartment because they need to buy a house.
Yeah, now that you're saying this, I have someone.
There we go. There we go.
I'll talk to you about this afterwards.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because I feel like that's also, some people get bought out of the market because they're not ready. They don't know who to talk to or whatever. So I feel like this is, but it's probably going to go on the market for about 145.
Okay, solid. And do you know how much work financially you put into it?
I've got all the receipts collected, right? But I'm probably right at about 18 to about 20 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you said all those things, I thought it was going to be way more than that.
Well, see, and that's the thing, right? It's who do you know?
I'm going to get your contractor after that.
I mean, yeah, that's the tough thing. Everybody wants to jump into a flip, and then they have their rough projections, and then they get into it, and then I've seen a lot of people lose money on flips because they've overspent, had to fix things.
And it helps to be the one that's listing it.
Yep.
It helps. I mean, like you said, having that contractor is huge.
Yeah, all the fees that go into selling a property after you bought. Yeah, so there's just a lot of things that people don't think about. They think about, here's what I buy it for, here's how much it's going to fix, and this is what it's going to sell for.
Yeah.
Plus, it's going to be short-term capital gains. But in your case, you're self-employed, so you have again, we're not tax advisors, but you have things that you can write off differently than the normal W-2 employee, right?
I love hanging out with smarter people than me.
No, I love my write-offs. Like, I think your taxes are going to be fun, though.
Well, yeah, sure. Ask my CPA.
Exactly. We're not doing this ourselves. We're not doing TurboTax.
No. And that's the thing is there's so much learning that's happened from working on the farm to working at the nursery to starting real estate to being the true professional in real estate, right? There's such a learning curve that happens, and even taxes and self-employed people, people who decide to work for their own and then, they end up wanting to buy a house. And you see this all the time is because we don't have the knowledge or the who to or how or whatever. Sometimes we don't structure our payments correctly or self-pay. So, it's super important, man. I love it.
Yeah, the typical is like, oh, I just filed my taxes, and how much can I qualify for? And I want to buy this house, and I'm like, oh man, I wish you would have talked to me before you filed your taxes. Yeah. Now we're gonna have to look at a different program, but okay, so that's interesting. I mean, you made it sound like this was a big struggle and like not gonna pencil, but to me, it sounds like you're gonna end up in a decent position for a first flip, which is cool, and I think it shows that you kind of smelled the deal properly and came in prepared, which I think is hard for a lot of people when they get into flipping. So good for you. I wanted to kind of switch gears here and talk a little bit about, I know that you, marketing wise, you've invested a lot in like social media and film and building your brand. Like when did you decide to do that? And like what kind of triggered the idea that you wanted to get into video?
Dude, what a great question. I think I've always had a passion for just wanting to do something on TV. I don't know what it was, right? I just felt like I could do it.
I mean, when we grew up, like TV was a thing.
Oh,
if
God.
you were
Nickelodeon?
on TV, it was a big thing, right?
Oh, could you imagine like growing up and being one of the Nickelodeon kids? Like that for me, dude, was like, oh my God, that was the end.
You definitely have the energy for it.
Dude, I don't know. And so like growing up, and I'll just kind of tie this in, right, is we grew up pretty poor. All right, we didn't have really money.
You grew up on a farm.
And I remember, I grew up on a farm, and I remember we got this solid on TV. Hey, we're doing this casting up in Portland at the Lloyd Center Mall or something, right? Who knows which one of the malls? Yeah. It was for Disney, and I was like, Mom, we got to go, right? Me, my brother, and my sister, we all go. And we do the audition, and I remember they called back, and they're like, hey, Lorenzo, we want you to come back for a second, for a second run.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, that is going to happen. I'm going to be one of the Nickelodeon kids.
Yeah.
Well, I told my mom and dad, and they're like, no, we're not going back up there. Like, we don't have the time, and we don't have the money. Like, we're not going to do it. And it was just like, damn, right? Yeah. So it always, like, I think that's what initially started. The wanting to do, invest in social media, and to be a presence on social media was to fulfill that part of my dream that I always wanted to do.
Like, it gives you that sense of credibility, I guess, that you wanted when you were younger. I like that.
Yeah. I've always been about chasing my dreams, and really living my life the way that I want to. And what a blessing to do the stuff that I do right now and to have the time that I do. But so it all started with that, and then this awesome dude named Irvin Sanchez came out. He was a lender at the time, and he's like, hey, what do you think about doing like some filming? Like, what do you think if we film like a listing, or we do something for like Facebook? Because Facebook was a thing, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, are you kidding me? So then I ended up getting a listing, and it was my first listing was a 3,260 square foot house. It was a dual living, like on an acre of property. I mean, it was beautiful, right? And he's like, this is a great opportunity, and let's film at it. And if you go on YouTube, you might be able to find it somewhere.
We'll have to check it out.
LTV Cribs was our thing.
Okay.
LTV Cribs, right? And this was back in 2000.
Wait, what's LTV stand for?
For Lorenzo.
For Lorenzo TV.
Yeah, Lorenzo TV. And so this was back in 2018, and we decided
so you had some flair with it too.
Yeah, man, it was fun. It was so much fun.
I mean, honestly, people overlook that part of how like TV and social media should be fun. Like, because you'll get somebody that's like, oh, this guy's fun. Like, I want to work with him.
Yeah. I mean, I was a disaster on my YouTube on the recording, man. It was bad. But it was fun. It was fun. It was like doing something that at the time, really no other real estate agent was doing. Nobody else was putting videos together of like, hey guys, I'm Lorenzo Flores.
Especially not in McMinnville.
Especially not in McMinnville. Like, so I felt like, yeah, this has got something. And then Irvin was like, hey, put this on here. And then eventually, you know, he got into the social media world and was like, hey, I'm gonna do my own agency. Like, I want you as a client, and you know, I can help you promote your social media.
Oh, interesting.
I can help basically run your social media for you.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, dude, because I'm so busy with what real estate really is.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, we don't have time. I mean, honestly, I don't know how some of you guys do it, but if you're really busy, you don't have time to be even, in my opinion, coming up with like, oh, now what am I going to post on here? Let me take this. Like, for me, at least, it's really time consuming.
Oh, yeah.
So time consuming. And he said, hey, let me run it for you. Let me do it. But of course, I'm going to charge you.
Right.
We got a monthly fee here
Right.
now. Now we got a package.
Yep.
You know, and this is what the package entails. It's going to be
Okay.
this and this and this.
Yeah.
And we're going to do videos, and I'm going to come up with, you know, I was like, wow, okay. This is like another level.
Yeah.
Like, this is like stepping in the right direction of where I want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we played around for a few years and, you know, used Irvin for a long time. Chris Zavala, he was out there and ran my social media for a while as well. Good guy too.
Okay.
And yeah, then Irvin just recently, he just exploded, man. Irvin Sanchez, just exploded. He's out recording with Jordan Poyer, out at the Miami Dolphins and things like that.
wow.
Like
Okay.
building like a full on documentary for the guy. Like, this guy's got something big going. You know, he's big money.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to partner up with him because, in a sense, he led a lot of the inspiration of what social media can do. And, you know, having
He
somebody
figured
support you.
it out early, huh?
Yeah. He knew the right stuff. And I think I kind of shared a little bit about what's going on right now. And when is this airing?
This will probably air in
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got something super exciting that's happening, right?
Sure.
And I don't think I'm quite ready to share with the audience yet, right?
We'll let you share at the time. We'll promote it once you tell us.
Yeah, but we've got something really exciting where we're gonna. It's crazy to even think about it. I'm gonna be on TV with a reality real estate lifestyle show here in the Salem McMinnville area.
Nice.
Okay.
So we're gonna be airing a couple episodes on like Tubi and Roku, and
Yeah.
and then if I make the cut, I might make HGTV or the Travel
Okay.
Channel, which
That's
would,
awesome.
dude.
I love it. That's
That's
awesome.
what dreams are
Yeah,
made
yeah,
of, man. I
totally.
can't even believe it. Like, this feels weird.
Yeah, we'll connect about that afterwards. I'm
Yeah, I'm
excited to hear
excited
about
to see
it.
that.
Yeah.
We'll save it for when you post about
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna have a launch party. So, you know, if people want to come and
There we
experience
go.
it in life, we're gonna do it at Chicha Brewing North. That's right here in Salem.
My favorite place in Salem.
Dude,
Let's
they've
go.
got some great beer, and the food is just insane.
Yeah,
but
sounds
yeah,
good to
we've got
me.
something good.
Yeah. So, can we talk about your social media strategy up to that point, which up to the point where we won't spoil, obviously? So, what have you been doing? How consistent have you been? What do you do to keep yourself going?
You know, social media is not easy.
No.
It's not easy. There's a huge time commitment, and a lot of it is recording content.
Yep.
You know, getting in front of the camera and being here and doing this, and then going to different places and recording at different things. So, I have someone I'm working with right now, and he's been doing phenomenal work as well. And we come up with different ideas on what to record, what's new, what are people wanting to know, and then most importantly is how do I engage with them, make myself available so that they can easily reach out to me.
Okay, so you do like knowledge-based stuff, or is it more like showing your listings, or?
I like to do it all.
Yeah.
And you know what's really funny is some of the best engagement has nothing to do with real estate,
Oh, really?
which
Okay.
I was like, wow.
Like you highlight a small business, or you kind of like what kind of
no,
stuff?
just like little reels, you know, little reels that maybe are just like funny or just something cool or something like
Oh,
that.
you did the TikTok dance.
Stop.
Is that the video I'm gonna find? For you?
It's so bad, man. But yeah, we're pretty. I'd say I'm pretty heavy into a social media presence to the point where it's a commitment every single week for a few hours, and we're gonna record some content. We're gonna do it, and then between the media team that I have now, they come up with great content and they know when to post it and when to get stuff out there. So,
Okay.
but it's really about just being available.
And
to
it's
record.
like all video, basically.
Pretty much all video, but yeah, we touch base on education and we talk about options and we talk about availability. I think that's the biggest thing is like you'll see. I mean, I've got tons of videos, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to talk about anymore.
Do you batch them together? Like you just do a bunch of videos at once and kind of parse it out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
That's a smart way. Yeah,
dude. And I told Alex is his name. I was like, Alex. I was like, no chingues, man. Like, come on, man, help me out. I was like, you have me wear the same outfit for like 6 videos. They're just gonna think like this guy wore the same thing for 6 days in a row. You know?
Actually, we did get some feedback on that. How when you post like multiple things to like have a different look on the subsequent posts.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the person might think that's viewing it. The viewer might think that you're doing the same. It's like the same thing, so they might not look at multiple of your things.
Oh,
which,
okay.
Which I thought was some
see that.
interesting feedback from somebody that does like that SEO stuff. So
No, that's
but to your point, like changing an outfit for it will help when you post your things because then.
What if I just wear the same thing all the time? I actually do wear the shirt a lot, so I'm just saying.
There you go. And you talked a little bit about you did mention. I heard you mention something about how you can convert with those. What have you found in terms of success when you make videos in increasing your pull through or increasing your lead generation from it?
Yeah, no. At first, I almost didn't want to believe that was a real lead gen.
Right. It's more just about branding.
It's just like, is this
whatever,
what it is? But looking back, and I just want to say I apologize if maybe somebody reached out to me at one point where maybe I wasn't as engaged with those messages coming in because I almost felt like it wasn't real, right? Like I had
thought
people
someone was trolling you or something.
like almost like that, like okay, we maybe have a small conversation, but it's not. Like I didn't almost accept like it was a real lead, and that's really stupid to say.
Yeah.
But that's just being real. But I've consistently gotten leads from my social media videos, my posts, people who might know me from somewhere else and see a video and say, "Hey, I saw your video." Not necessarily is that why, but definitely helped with credibility.
Yeah.
People see me, see the videos, they're like, "Dude, you're confident." It's like you just go up there and it's like, "Well, I'm just talking on the camera." Like that's all I'm doing is I'm just feeding you information I would talk to you about if you were there anyways. Like the only difference is I have to stare through like 3 or 4 little Zoom things and then try to like there's no eyeball, right? But just try to be real.
I was gonna say, is it hard to like do that and pretend like you're talking to a person when you're just looking at nothing?
Oh, it's taken so much experience, dude. if only you guys could see some of the bloopers that we have. I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just taken some time to just try to get used to, like pretending like it's another person. Pretending.
Getting that practice in, it helps a lot. And do you do like teleprompters, or you just like, okay, I'm just gonna wing it, or I have a bullet point list?
Great question, dude. My thing is, I'm a one take beauty. I'm a one take. So I'm like running it in my head like, okay, this is what we're going to do. So a lot of my videos, there's so much prep and me like walking already without the camera even rolling. Like, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to talk about. And then I'm like, Alex, you ready? I'm ready. And returns the camera and I'm like, all right, guys, this is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to do. So I really pride myself on doing it. But dude, there's times where maybe I've got 30 other tabs open in my mind.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about this and I can't concentrate on how to get
that happened to me the other day when I was trying to do a video. I had to do like 6 takes and I was like, what is wrong with me?
No, it's funny, yeah, because I remember I used to do like these luxury home tour videos, and the first one, I swear, I'm by myself, I have this like panning camera thing to follow me. I swear I took like 30 takes. And then by the last one, I was like, I knocked out that intro in like 1 take. I was like, okay, this practice makes perfect, Yeah. You get yourself up, you hype, you get that confidence in yourself, and you're like, I'm going to have this voice and show and project and do all this, and I have the number of beds and baths and everything ready to go, and just knock it out, and it feels amazing.
What's really cool is, so I have a 7-year-old son. We talked about it briefly. For most of his life, he's been with me on all these appointments, right? And that to me was always a priority. Like, how awesome that I could be successful and have my son go with me to my work.
Yeah.
And maybe a client or two maybe weren't happy about him being there, but that wasn't the right client for me.
Maybe that wasn't the right fit.
And that's fine, because that's a priority in me.
Yeah.
But, that wouldn't, anyways. He goes and he sees me record these videos, right? And he might be like in the background watching. And the comments that he says, like when I do a good take or whatever, like, oh, that's the one. That was the one. Oh, you did such a good job on that one. And it's like, it's motivation to also do good, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste my camera guy's time either. I'm like, dude, I not only do your time, but I want to get back to doing other stuff too, you know? So I really practice hard on being real, presenting myself in a way that I don't have to say things that don't come naturally to me.
Yeah.
So just be natural, I think, and it's just time.
Yeah, I think it's media training to be yourself, to present yourself as true to yourself as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you say that there's a specific topic or type of video that for you has built the most, feedback and conversations that turn into leads?
You know what? It's my Spanish videos. The videos in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, just, again, I think it goes back to educating.
Underserved community. I mean,
hugely underserved community.
The amount of realtors making Spanish-speaking videos is not that many.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some that are doing it, but not like compared to the amount of English-speaking ones. It's drop in the bucket.
I noticed there's a lot of, and there might not be engagement on the front, the likes or that kind of thing, but I'm getting the messages in the back.
But you get direct messages.
I'm getting direct messages like, hey, I saw this, I saw that. So sometimes I'm like, oh, dude, this is such a great video, and it's got like, 10 or 7 likes or something.
Who cares if you got a lead out of it?
Yeah, I was going to say,
coming in.
likes are kind of just whatever, but if you get a deal out of it, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's all about finding what I like to call them super fans. The people who are going to follow, who are going to get that deal, is that if a video gets 100 likes and the message comes from it and that turns into a deal, that's my best video.
Yeah.
Better than my 10,000 or 20,000 view video that people like to shit on.
I haven't watched that one. Maybe I'll have to
There's one where I install a mailbox and people are like shitting, that's not how you install a mailbox. This is one of my listings. I think I got like...
What happened? Did someone broken the mailbox or something and you had to put a new one in, or they...
I think it was the old mailbox and there was one sitting in the garage and I was like, I'm just going to screw this in the post because I want to sell this house. Make it look good. And it was like, that's not going to stand. Gus is going to knock this thing right over. I'm like, I don't care. I want to sell the house. And it was just all mean comments.
Like, have you ever sat on a staged bed before? Yeah.
It's literally holding mail. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, dude, that's good.
Don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to ask you some questions about if someone wanted to get into real estate, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think if you're wanting to get into real estate, you have to be ready for a lifestyle change, And if you're not ready to give up, I would say a lot of the stuff that you're already doing and you're super committed to being able to take on a new profession, learn it, adapt to it, and then implement it, then maybe this isn't the right career for you, right? We really need to continue to get better in professional real estate agents, Just the other day I had somebody say, hey, I want to get into real estate. Well, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm not going to say no, but just get ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're there mentally and you're ready to take it on, go for it, right?
Yeah.
But you really have to know that this will more than likely change your life. And it could be for the good, and unfortunately for a lot of people it's for the bad, right? Because maybe they don't find the success that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it is mental too. Like, you mentally have to prepare yourself for life or death. Like, really, like the battle, right? Like, you're going to battle and there's no choice.
Yeah, don't give yourself a chance
succeed.
to retreat, right?
No.
Burn the ships behind you.
Yeah, like it's really, and I think there's levels to the game. There's levels to this real estate game, right? And if depending on whatever level you want to play, great for you. I think we need top producers, top agents. We need top people that can show and lead, right, by example of what they've done and how to be good customer service. And I think if you're ready to take that on, good. If you're ready to do 1 or 2 deals a year, good. Whatever level it is that you want to play it the best you can.
Yeah, I think being a true professional is really important in this industry, especially if you want to be a top producer.
Right.
You have to bring in that structure for people, especially when it's the biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah, man. It's been insane. I mean, it's crazy to think, again, like I was getting a haircut the other day at the barber, and the owner comes in, and I know he talked to me about real estate and he wants to do some stuff. He's not quite there because he owns his business.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, dude, tell me about this. And he gave me, like, he ran through like my whole life story, right, of what it was. And I'm like, man, like to be working on the farm, to not have money. I mean, when I first got into real estate, I talked about the 17 deals, right? The success.
Yeah.
What I didn't tell you guys was before I hit that success, I was so poor. The only payment that I was making was my mortgage payment because I'd just gotten my house and there was no way I was going to lose my house.
Yeah.
But I was late on my electricity. I was late on my credit cards. We couldn't go out to eat anymore because I had no money, right? So like we were struggling. And to go from that to working my ass off to becoming a top producer. I've been the top producer for the Realty One group for 3 years in a row. Super proud of that. I've been recognized at the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals for 2 years as a nationwide top producer. And it's like I've gone to all these things and I've learned, I've seen Barack Obama speak. I've seen, Tom Ferry. I've learned so much that I feel like I'm still taking everything in. And there's not a finished product yet. Like I can't not wait to see what 5 years from today looks like. And not only just for me, but those people around me and see where we'll go. That's the beauty of this too, is it's not just about me. It's about those people who pour into me, I mean, I love going to Mexico. And there's nothing better than taking my mom and dad with me, because I won't have them forever.
Yep.
And right now they're still mobile. We can still do stuff, right? They're not in wheelchairs.
Yep.
And we're making some of the best memories, we obviously go to Mexico, where the rancho, so where they're from, and we still eat beans and rice every single morning with homemade tortillas, just the best.
Yep.
But then we get to enjoy the luxury of all-inclusive resorts and get to do whatever we want when we want to, because of the commitment and the work that I did to be that true professional is the reason I have what I have today.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I said, I love that feeling of showing your family something that they want to experience without you. So
Yeah.
And if someone wanted to reach out to you, wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to find you?
I would say the easiest way is probably Instagram or Facebook, right?
Okay.
At Real Lorenzo Flores, like real estate and then my name, Real Lorenzo Flores. Also my phone number, WhatsApp. It's funny because sometimes I'll get like these random calls on WhatsApp at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, is this a spam, or is this like, or is this somebody like because they saw my phone number and I say, hey, hit me up on WhatsApp, like send me a text, that's easy. So phone number and then Instagram and Facebook, because that's where I get a lot of my messages.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We learned a lot.
Thank you guys. Thank you for letting me share a little bit of my story, and appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thanks.